Okay then, folks, welcome to this. It's a little bit different, isn't it? It's a Q&A from my daughter's bedroom because the weather is flipping horrendous at the minute. Everywhere's blooming froze up. It was snowing like mad yesterday, and I'm basically just a wimp. I just want to stay nice and warm in my house. I think I've tied about 3 hooks. I've done 1 rig. I don't even know when I'm fishing next, folks, because the weather for the foreseeable doesn't look nice. But no, joking apart, I'm out with the very handsome looking chap Jamie next Monday. We don't know where we're going to go yet, but I'm out with him next Monday. But we thought we'd do sort of like a little babby Q&A. I'm going to answer some questions and just give you a bit of an insight into what's coming up and what matches I've been fishing. So I believe you got some questions for me, Jamie.
I have, yes. I put on social media earlier on today, just asking for people to submit their questions for you, and we've had quite a few come in. But the first one is actually going to be from me. So the first question is,
Jamie, steady on, just let me have a drink. Not an alcoholic drink either, folks. It's absolutely apple and blackcurrant today. It's too early for alcohol yet.
So the first one being is, how the devil are you? And 2, what have you been up to in your fishing recently?
I'm doing well. I have been doing well. I had a bit of a problem with my ear a couple of weeks ago in that I sort of like burst my eardrum. Long story, but that was a bit pongy. So that's been a bit like, it's getting better now. Obviously, I've got a little bit of a cold as well because it's cold, but everyone has blooming colds this time of year.
It's going around, isn't it?
Oh, mate, yeah. So my daughter's actually off today. She's a bit poorly. My lad's a bit sniffly. My wife's not very well either. So, yeah, the May household is a little bit sickly at the minute. But fishing-wise, mate, I didn't want you to ask me about the fishing. It's just been, I have been horrendous, like, absolutely. So let's go back to, I'm going to start from the Riddings Festival, which was about 2 weeks ago. Now, silvers fishing, as you know, folks, I absolutely adore silvers fishing. For me, it doesn't get any better than being snarled up in loads of roach or eyed and perch and skimmers and this, that, and the other. But I just couldn't catch any blooming fish. 2-day festival. It was an on the flyer TV, one of Gaz Rogers' ones 2 weeks ago. I've ended up with £14 on the first day. Thought, oh, it's all right. I'll redeem myself on the second day. And I come stone last in the section with £8 on the second day. That was a lake that we did a little bit of sneaky filming on as well, Jamie, if you remember, at Riddings on the
was on that one, was it?
Folly Lake, yeah. Actually, I had my goldfish as well, mate, but they didn't count. Everyone on the whole complex heard me when I caught the goldfish, believe me.
Instant win.
Instant win, mate. But unfortunately, they didn't count with it being silvers only. So, yeah, that was horrendous. Luckily, I was sharing with my Jamie with the Yows and Rich Chapman. They bailed me out. So we've got some pennies. And then Holbar at the beautiful Partridge Lakes just last week. I love that venue. But again, it was just horrendous. I didn't draw the best on the first day, but I'm not making any excuses. There's just no fish there. I had my first bite. So bear in mind, 10:30 was all in, Jamie. I had my first bite at 3:05. Yeah, my first bite. And then ended up with 3 roach for 5 ounces. And my peg wasn't iced up at all. But the day after, this was a weight festival. The day after, I drew the peg everyone wanted. I thought, I've got to draw peg 1 tomorrow. I've got to draw peg 1 on all bar. It's the only chance I've got. I went and blooming drew it. And again, it was horrendous. I've had 4 fish. I've had 2 perch, a rudd, and a roach for £1.1. I don't know. I mean, obviously, everyone's had to break ice. I've had to watch Bagger Bennett, who was sort of opposite me in another lake. I've had to watch him empty it all day. Well, he's had £15, but he's had the right day's fishing. And he's won the match. And yet again, Jamie's bailed me out. He's won the festival because it was on weight with £21. Rich came 5th in the festival, so then pair again. I don't think I've contributed to our winning ways pot for like 4 years. It's getting embarrassing now. So one of these days, Jamie, I will come good, I promise, mate. So my fishing is just horrendous. So I wish you hadn't have asked me, but there we go, mate. No secrets here. It's just one of them things.
Sounds very, very eventful. It was we had some very good filming days recently, haven't we? So we did film the Christmas special recently, which we can't reveal the result, but obviously that will come in around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And then some more questions from the audience. The first one being from Kevin Duran. Sorry if I butchered these names, but he says, how would you go about tackling silvers by feeder fishing on club waters at this time of year?
Oh, first things first, check there's not got a lid on it, mate. Everywhere around here, it's still got blooming a lid on it with ice. But silvers on a feeder. I think if you want guaranteed bites, I'd definitely go maggot feeder to start off with. Maybe have 2 swims. Maybe do like a ground baited one, like a little tiny cage feeder, and I mean tiny cage feeder. If there's skimmers in there, but if it's mainly sort of roach or rudd-eyed, things like that, 100% go to a maggot feeder. Start off on like a 3-foot tail, but then get ready to shorten that if you're missing bites. Noticing, bladder maggots where the fish have obviously taken the maggots, but you've not registered a bite, or if the fish are deep up, then that's all indications to shorten that hot length. Exactly the same on the cage feeder. Ground bait wise, anything dark, you know what I mean? Something like black roach, like a little bit of activity, black roach, and maybe a little bit of super crush for a bit of fish meal for the skimmers, mix 50-50, nice and dry. And as for maggots, just reds and whites. Bronze as well. And disco, anything like that. In fact, no, a red maggot tipped with a disco pinky. That's my bait of choice this time of year. Not that it's plumbing work for me wherever I've been, because I ain't caught any fish, but
it's red in the winter for you, isn't it?
It's one of them, obviously. It's great. Regular casting as well for silvers. Not like carp fishing where you might leave it in and you might only have like 3 casts an hour or even 2 casts an hour this time of year. Silver's got to be active. I'd definitely have 2 swims though, maggot feeder and like a little babby ground baity one. That was very thorough, wasn't it? I waffled a bit there, Jamie. I do apologise.
That was perfect. I'm sure Kevin would appreciate that.
Good question, Kev.
The next question is from Rich Hollingsworth. He says, how many different swims would you fish in a match this time of year, and would there be a risk of overfeeding?
100% risk of overfeeding with me if I was fishing it, mate. Yeah. No,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, you know what I'm like. As a rule, this time of year, I think you've got to have loads of swims on the go. Basically, if it's sort of like Snake Lake, Dobbin, then, however many swims you want, you're basically moving it sort of 8 inches to a foot, that rig, every time you're sort of chasing them fish all over the place. Your main swim, did you say whether it's a Snake Lake or an open water, Jamie?
It doesn't specify.
Does he not? Let's go Snake Lake then. So yeah, Dobbin starting off at crossing like 3 foot with maggots all bred. Don't feed anything, hardly anything, and then just sneak a few maggots in sort of down the middle in the deepest bit of water, but leave it like 3 hours. And then same in the edges of what you've been doing across. Look what people are doing. That's the biggest advice we give, in competitions. If people are catching fish by feeding, you've got to follow suit. Otherwise, they're just going to nick your fish. But if they're not, just stick what you're doing. But 100%, certainly on a Snake Lake, that short line will come good. And it's similar on open water as well, as long as you've got the depth. Like I'm going to say 4 foot plus, 5 foot ideally plus, but 4 foot plus, you're going to catch late on when that light starts to go with maggots. Maggots is way forward, maybe a little bit of bread, and that's it. But don't feed.
Is that the sort of depth you'd look at then, sort of in winter fishing?
Yeah, you're catching any depth. I've seen them blooming catch, dobbing in sort of 12 inches. You can actually see the fish sometimes. But as a rule, yeah, 4 or 5 foot plus, that's what you want. The deeper the water, generally, the better it is. But cover, if you've got cover, fish to that, you'll catch in cover because that's where the fish want to be. Certainly if it's bright, they want to be not in the open water. They want to be sort of in cover, any reeds or stick-ups, island features, whatever. That's where you want to be. But just go really steady with the bait. I mean, again, look what people are doing. If it's mainly roach and hide, you can feed. But if it's not, F1's carp, don't feed. Don't feed at all.
Perfect. Thank you, Andy. And thank you,
Did I just say that out loud, Jamie? Don't feed. What is wrong with me? Boosh. Something wrong with me, isn't there? Shocking.
And if there's ever a person I thought would say that, not you.
Definitely not me.
Yes, thank you, Andy, and thank you, Rich, for the question. I hope that answers that. The next one is from Riley Lamb, and he says, what are some of the best pole rigs? So I'm assuming he means like floats, lines, and hooks for silvers this time of year. Again, fishing on sort of club waters as well.
Just go F1 fine, F1 pellet, and F1 maggot. That's all you need. All the sizes, obviously, depending on depths, as light as possible is the key this time of year. 410s, even up to sort of like 5 or 6 foot of water. Quite happily use a 410s float. But as a norm, 5s. Who's Norman? 410s up to like a 416, depending on depth and obviously undertow, conditions, wind, things like that. If it's If it's calmish with not much wind, maybe a little bit of babby wind, F1 fines. If there's a little bit of a chop, then just go F1 maggot or F1 pellet. F1 pellet more for stability, or for bigger fish, bigger baits, things like that. But them 3 floats will cover absolutely everything of all your, sort of silvers fishing. Nothing else needed at all.
Yeah.
Did you say lines as well, or just floats?
Yeah, lines and hooks. So,
right, so main lines, you get away with 0.16 main lines. I use AccuPower, but 0.14s as well if it's silvers, obviously, and then 0.10 AccuPower hook lengths. The pre-tied, how much I love pre-tied hooks, folks.
I do.
The pre-tied SFLBs to 0.11, they can sometimes be a little bit heavy this time of year. So just go a little bit fine on the line. I'm not talking about the hook, I'm talking about the line. So 0.9 or 0.10 or something like that, it will make a difference for you. 4 to 6 inch hook lengths, shot in, yeah. Or stock, it wouldn't really matter about stocks this time of year either, because you're not going to be netting that many fish, because not lots to be caught. Certainly when I've been fishing anyway, or how I'm fishing rather, should I say. So that, sort of like your 10s, your 11s shots, really get that bait coming in nice and slow for your droppers, and then bulks are like 9s or something like that. But just again, take it steady and make sure everything's dotted down. You might want a bit of grease on that bristle as well, because the bites are horrendous sometimes to see. Shocking.
Yeah. And just for those audiences at home, what does that grease help do on the floats?
Just obviously it creates like a little barrier between obviously the float bristle and the water. So it just allows your bristle just to fit up that little tiny bit more, just so you can see it basically. Like you only want to put it on sort of like 2 or 3 mil. You don't want to put it on much, but I mean, I think I had the same bristle grease pot for about the last 30 years. It's still going strong. You never get rid of it. It's just like it lasts forever. One pot will last you forever. It's so good.
Thank you for that. I hope that answers your question, Riley. And another question from Andy Angler. Good surname there.
That might be me. I might be asking the question to myself here, Jamie.
He says, my go-to is bread punch in winter. Do you use it? And what ground bait and presentation do you recommend on the pole?
No? Bread works so well. But personally, I can't stand using it, Andy, simply because it falls off. I like doing things at speed, and as soon as I start shipping out, that's it, my breads fell off. I'd sooner use maggots any day of the week. I'd use maggots, or even corn skin or something like that. So double white maggot, a bit of corn skin, single white maggot, hook through the side so it falls out a little bit slower. Yeah, I've never been confident in bread, and I think fishing's massive part. Confidence comes into it. And I've just got every time I took it in with a ledger bomb, put 3 discs or like 8mm discs on. Every time I wind it back, it's never on. So it's up there. I know it's going to be on, but then I'm like, is it though? You know what I mean? When you took in, it's like, yeah, does me head in. So I just don't use it. Simple as that. And what else was he saying, Jamie?
He said, what ground bait and presentation do you recommend on the pole?
100% ground bait. If there's skimmers in there, you need a bit of fish meal. So this time of year, F1 dark, maybe a little bit of Thatcher's, Super Crush if it's shallow, but then you need to obviously darken it out with Super Crush. And I've been using F1 dark and Super Crush, but lately I've been using roach, black roach, and sweet skimmer's amazing. And what else I've been using? Thatcher's green. Just mixing them a little bit, sort of like, so like not 30-30-30 because that's 90. What's like 3? You know what I mean? Like a third of each to get to a hole. Just So if the skimmer's in, get the fish meal in. But if it's mainly sort of roachy ID, get on the active ground baits like the black roach and the sweet skimmer. Ooh, yes, please.
Perfect. Thank you for that. The next question, and I think I know the answer from you, Andy, on this one.
Fish shallow, go to the pub.
It's from Stephen Piner. He says, how do you know what you need to take with you for a match at so many different venues like you are fishing at the moment? Do you use the same gear and bait for every venue?
Do your own work. That's the biggest thing, mate. See what methods are working at the venue you're going to, and then follow suit. You can't fish the same as obviously the locals. You've got to do your own thing, but you've got to potentially fish obviously the same baits and the same rigs and this, that, and the other. It's just all about doing your own work. Obviously, a lot of the venues I go to, I've fished them for years, so you know exactly what's what, and you take the same gear to them. But there'll be occasions when methods will come into it that aren't the norm, kind of thing. I've mentioned I qualified for a big silvers final the other week, and you know, everyone said don't take a waggler. Waggler doesn't work, Andrew. You know how much I love waggler fishing, folks. I took it, and if I hadn't taken it that day, I wouldn't have got anywhere near. I'd have ended up with about £3, but I've had £17 on the waggler, fishing past because it had gone really cold, fishing past obviously pole line, nothing over the reds to spook them. So it's little things like that. I think take everything, be prepared, you know, every eventuality, but realistically just do your own work, you know what I mean? See what's working on the venue. It's better to, what's the thingy? Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Yes.
After Daddy May saying that.
That's it for questions from the public. I think the last question I want to put to you is, what's been your highlight from 2023?
Beating Jamie on one of the six of the challenges so far now. What can we say?
My personal highlight was the catfish on the pole. That was awesome.
Oh yes, mate, that was amazing. I promised you a catfish, didn't I? You're not seeing one, had you, up to them?
No, no. From where we are, from where I'm from, there's catfish. You don't see them anywhere. So just seeing that like tadpole type cat tail come out of the water was just.
And we knew straight away, didn't we? We knew what it was.
I thought because you're going to be on an edge monster pole, size 23 elastic, size 8 and 10 hooks. I was worried, like, is this a bit overkill? But it's really not, is it?
No, not at all, mate. When you feed it perfectly, Jamie, and like get the presentation absolutely bang on, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anything's possible. Yeah, that was a good one. As for matches, I've not fished loads of matches. I've done loads of qualifiers and done horrendous in them. I suppose the recent ones, we filmed like a part of the campaign for Winning Ways, and I've qualified for one of them, and I might qualified for another one that's coming up soon. So you know, the big silvers finals that are due next year. I suppose it's going to be a highlight for this year, really. But you know how much I love my fishing. It's always a highlight when I go out fishing. I just absolutely love it.
Every day.
The last 2 weekends.
So yeah, there we go. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, you're welcome. No problem at all.
As always,
it's warmer in here than outside, Jamie. Anyway,
it's less than ideal conditions today, isn't it? So
absolutely.
Hopefully, we'll be back out on the bank next week when we're supposed to be. So
yeah, we'll go and catch them next week, mate.
Proper fishies in. Perfect. Thank you for that. And as always, guys, obviously do go on head on over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe. There's some pretty awesome, if I say so myself and Zoe have been working hard on some pretty epic videos coming very, very soon over the Christmas, including a part 2 to the Coaching the Uncoachable series, and obviously the Christmas special, which is coming
can't say too much
around Christmas. So no. But as always, other than that, there is loads and loads of content to go and check out on the social media channels every day. So do go and do that. But obviously, make sure you hit that notification bell, because obviously when those big videos do land, you want to be the first to know. So thank you, Andy. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
And take care. See you later.